Hey guys, I just wanted to show you guys real quick um, what I've been using to make some passive income with Bitcoin. I mean, you can use any currency, but or cryptocurrency, but I've always used Bitcoin because it used to not be as volatile as it is now. But the 3Commas is a bot provider. They give you access to a bot called GridBot. And I mean, you can come here to 3Commas slash GridBot, and then it kind of explains the process. So basically, what it does right here, you would just register 3Commas, connect your exchange, and then you would choose the GridBot mode, and then you would run a specific strategy. I'll go through that to show you how to set it up. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is figure out what exchange you're going to connect to and see if it's compatible with GridBots because I don't think there's too many. So if you come here to 3Commas, once you're registered and you sign in to your account, I think they have a a 3-day trial for the Pro version, which I believe you need. Let's see real fast. So for GridBots, yeah, you need to have the Pro version. And I think when you sign up for the free trial, you get 3 days to test it out, which is really nice. And then obviously it's well worth it. I think it's $99 a month if you sign up for the monthly membership. But as long as you have some capital to put in there, you're going to make that back probably in the first day. So let's go back and see which exchanges are available. So you see here we have GridBots, we have Binance, and it includes all these order types. So I use features to allow me to create bigger trades and to span the grid out further than normal. Because if you do spot, I mean, spots actually you can't really lose. I mean, you will lose if you get huge swings, but if you're a holder anyways by trading spot, it it won't matter to be honest with you. But I'll show you my strategy and how I've been using it. So if we look at some of my grid bots here, I think I have them set up. Let me go here to grid bot. Yeah, so when you first click on here, it's going to give you two different types of strategies. So the first thing you're going to do is select your exchange here. Once you select your exchange, so right here I have Binance Futures with the F, and then you select what market, and obviously I'm going to use Tether because that's the main perpetuals pair. And then they're going to give you, I believe, depending on what you select here, the time frame, they're going to give you an upper range and a lower range and a base of 10. And you can use that strategy there, or you can create your own right here via the manual strategy. So when you come here, you can't select anything. You kind of just select your leverage type and how much money you want to invest into the bot. But what I do is I come in here and you can do one of two things. You can either use the ones that are pre-populated in here, or what I like to do is go open up a Bitcoin chart and you're going to put this indicator, the Bybit liquidations indicator. It looks like that in TradingView. And it gives you these lines. And so what you can do, because if you just want a rough estimate of how it's going to work, you're going to put your top range here at where 10x shorts are going to be liquidated at. So you would put here 49.2 and then 42 as the low range. And then you just wait till you hit the base because that's the middle. Because the way that the grid bots work is every time it moves up a step, it's going from the baseline when you enter, it's going to put in a short. And every time it moves below a step, depending on the percentage you use, it's going to put in a long. And then as soon as it activates a short or a long, it automatically places a new short and long the same width above and below your entry. And so you're constantly buying and selling, buying and selling. So as it goes up, it goes boom, 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 boom. And it's kind of like dollar cost averaging a short entry up here and then dollar cost averaging a long entry here. And so when you get those head and shoulders, whether it's like an inverse head and shoulders or a regular one, you just make money because it's just going up, down, up, down, up, down. And it just constantly, it's in the red, when it's averaging in, but then when it flies up or flies down, that's when you make all your profit. And so if you look at the the ones I've been working on, like this is the one I've only had this open for a few days. Um, Actually 24th, so 25th. So I've had this open for 3 days, and it looks like I have a lot of money here. This looks like it's $103,000, but this is on leverage. So when you create a new bot, so you go to your manual strategy, you put in your higher and lower here, basically where you want the grid to be printed out at, and then how many grids you want in between. So that's going to give you a quantity per grid. So let's do this real quick. So let's just say from our chart here, we had our top at 49.2 and our bottom at 42, just to make it nice and even. So we go 49.2, and then we're going to do 42. And you can see it puts the grid in there. And then what I like to look at is how much money do I want to make per trade. So you can do that math pretty simply. So right here it says the grid width is about 2%. Okay, so I always go by this first number. So if I wanted to make $20, you could figure out how much 2% of the $20 would be to make how much money you'd have to leverage for that. And so you would place that amount in here. Actually, give me a second. Let's see. Oh yeah, we would switch it to cross. And here's a big thing. You don't want to select limited leverage. You don't want to have it. I'm sorry, not limited. Isolated, because if you isolate it, you're going to have a liquidation point. And when you're working with a grid bot, you don't want to do that because you'll just you'll get liquidated the whole time if you're on like 100x or 125x, because you have no room to average in. It's just going to keep liquidating you. I mean, you won't lose much. You'll lose a little bit here and there, but it doesn't work that way. So you have to have it on cross. And so I usually now, since it's pretty volatile, before when it was sub 10K, I would have to do, I think the minimum amount is like 0.21%. Let me see what it looks like. Yeah, see, you can't do that many. Yeah, see, let's see, let's do 95, 85. Yeah, see right here, you could do this. Obviously, I don't have enough money in this account to put this many grids on there, but this would just go up and down ridiculous amounts, and it would just, it wouldn't work this way because it's just too tight. So you have to kind of give the bot room to grow. And what I mean by that is you can't have, you have to be able, when you're averaging in, you want to have space to make the average worth the averaging in, the time to get from the midpoint to the next trade or the next grid. So let's come here. What I normally do is about 1% right now because Bitcoin's just flying around. 1% is no problem. Let's do 25, no, 20. Okay, so this looks right. And you can see, like, you want to put it in the midpoint, I believe, on the chart that I showed you. Or if you just want to start right away, you can, and then just kind of keep an eye on it. What I've also done in the past is once you set this, if you're you want to go to sleep, you want to make sure that it just doesn't rip up 10 grand or down 10 grand and you get liquidated. What you can do is manually place a stop order market here and a stop order market here. So the stop market order would be above, and you can calculate that out, right? So you're saying each grid you want to put 0.1 BTC, and you have 20 grids. So that means you're going to have 10 this way and 10 this way. So that's going to be 1 Bitcoin. So then what you'll do is you'll place your stop loss up here and put 1 Bitcoin. So if you fall asleep and then it just rips through all these, it's just not just going to keep going. You would have your stop loss right up here. And then the same thing down here. But again, you're not losing all of this. It's going to just bounce around, and your average is just going to keep getting lower and lower and lower for this long, and higher and higher and higher for the short. And then when you're watching this, you can at any time you can kill the bot and take over manually to save position if it's just ripping on you. But for me, since I don't use that much for each trade, I think I'm using 0.075 Bitcoin each 1%. So that's not that much, right? It would have to go up over $10,000 to put in a 1 Bitcoin price trade, which is, it's not even that's not that much. But yeah, so sorry, I'm getting a little carried away here. But yeah, so you put your upper limit, lower limit, however many grids you want, which equates to how much percentage you want to make profit of each one, and then what your quantity per grid will be. So 0.075 is what I have here. Just to make it easy, we'll just do one. And then once, let's see what it says here. To create the spot, you need an additional. Okay, because we're on cross, you can select here 125. You just can't have it on isolated because it's going to use max leverage anyways, or whatever setting you have in Binance or whatever exchange allows you to put the grid bot in there. And then you would just click create. Okay, so it hasn't started yet. It just created it right here with all your settings. And here's a quick tip. If you say you messed up and you wanted to make a change on one of these settings, what you could do is come in here and click edit. And then you could make the change, like let's say we want this 325. And then you can save it. And then it'll make the change. It says I have an open position because below I actually do have my grid bot running, and I'll show that to you in a minute. So these are the settings that I put on it. 0.75, see my grid width is about 1%, and every single time it hits the grid, it's making me 40 bucks. And I mean, it's been doing this for 3 or 4 days now, and so it adds up, right? And I trust me, I've been in the red too. I think at one point my position was $300 or $400 in the red when it just rips up or down. But then eventually it corrects and then it just cashes in. Okay, so now once you have this set up, well, I guess I skipped a step. Hold on, let me go back. So you have to actually register your exchange, right? Remember when I showed you when you're looking to see which exchanges right here allow you to use a grid bot right here. So when you find your exchange, then you obviously have to open up an account with them, and then you have to go to the API settings and then create your API. I don't know if you haven't done that yet. You basically, when you log in, Binance US you can't use, but this is just an example. You would log in, you would come here, you would click API management, then you would type in whatever label, you call it like 3Commas, click create, and then it'll send you an email. And then when you open it up, you would just make sure you enable, I believe there's a button that says enable features trading when you're in normal Binance, and you have to click edit restrictions and then click the button, and then it'll allow you to leverage your money in perpetuals within Binance. And remember, when you get the secret key, you only see it once, so you're not going to be able to see it again. So if you click out of it and you forgot to copy it in a notepad or something, you're going to have to recreate it. So once you have all that and you get your API keys, then you would come into here, you would go to My Exchanges, and then you would select what exchange you have, give it a name, and then put the API key and the secret. And then once you have your API connected to 3Commas, then when you're here in the grid bot, you'll be able to select that specific exchange from the exchange list, which is right here. So you'll be able to select whatever exchange you want to use, and then you'd be able to make the bot. And then once the bot's ready, you have money in the account, it's going to know whether if you have enough or not for your settings here. It'll error out if you don't. And you have everything ready, you just click play. And as soon as you enable this, it's going to push out a bunch of orders, right? And one thing I noticed too is for Bitcoin specifically, and you want to do 125x leverage, there's a maximum amount to be leveraged. So what's going to happen is if you put too many grids, it may go through, but then you'll realize fairly soon that your grid bot's not working properly because you're overextended on the maximum allowable leverage. So what that means is you have to lower it. Instead of 125, I always use 100. Because then when you do 100, I think you're able to leverage up to 250,000. But when you do 125, I believe it's only like 50,000. And as you can see here on my bot, I'm using 100,000 on leverage. So at 100, so I'm only using 10 grand of my money, or no, I think like 1,000. So yeah, on 100, yeah, I'm only using $1,000 for 100K. And if it was at 125K, I can only use 50, and then what would happen is only $50,000 of the orders would fill, so a lot of my grid would be empty for those open orders on the exchange. And yeah, so now once that's completed, you just kind of watch it. Here, let me open up mine for you real fast. All right, so as you can see, this is my open order. So if I minimize this bot this grid bot right here that I have active is actually on that exchange. So let's open that up again. I can show you. So yeah, so here it is. So you can see all the orders it places. So when I opened this, I think I opened it around 40. Let's see where we at. So this is at 43.7. That's my entry though. And we have right, yeah, so I think right here is where I entered 3 days ago, and it's hovering around it, which is amazing, right? Like if you have a baseline and it just keeps hitting it, you're going to profit really well with the grid bot. So right now what's happening is I have a buy order at a 0.75. So when it hits here, I'm gonna have no open positions. So I'm basically back at the baseline, which is great. That's literally the perfect scenario for a grid bot, is to just keep hitting the baseline. Which I just did simple math, 50 and 40K, 45 is right in the middle. So and it just happened to work out right when I wanted to open it. And so yeah, what's gonna happen is it's gonna hit this order, and once it hits this order, it's gonna open a new order right in the middle of these two orders. So it'll open up a buy right here, and then obviously this sell is still going to be here. So if when it goes here, I'll be short. Or no, when it goes here, I'll have no open positions because I'm already long this amount. And then when it goes here, I'll be short 0.075. And then here, it'll average, and my entry will be around here. And then every single time, it keeps opening these buy orders below it. And then vice versa. As it hits a buy order and goes down, it reopens new short orders above it. And it just keeps ping-ponging up and down forever. And if I zoom out, you'll see all the orders. I mean, it's amazing, right? Like, I don't do anything. The bot takes control of this the whole time. But I just want to let you know you can get wrecked. I have, when I first started doing this, I was liquidated a couple times because I wasn't aware of how quickly things were moving, how far apart the orders needed to be, because I was doing crazy stuff and just making it. I tried to put, 500 orders, and it would just go brrr, fill them up and down. And yeah, you don't want to do that. You want to just make sure you have enough time to react. So that's why 1% is still, 1% now is like $500, and this thing moves 2,000 in an hour. So that's so just make sure you're aware of how much you're opening on each grid and how far apart you make the grid. And then whenever you want to get out of the trade, you can just come back to 3Commas. You just click stop, and it just kills all your open orders. But your order is still going to be the position is going to be open, but it'll just close all those orders, and then you just manage that position while it's open. Like if you just see shit's hitting the fan, come in here, turn it off. So you'd go to log in 3Commas, go to gridbot, scroll down, find your gridbot, and stop it. And then you would just go manage that position, or just close it all together and then be out of it. One thing I do want to tell you though is when you see this profit number here, it's going to keep going up every time you have open orders. You're going to see when you're on your, here, let's go back. Where the hell is it? Here it is. When you're here, this is going to be in the red. Every time it hits an order going up or down, it's going to add the profit in there ahead of time. What I mean by that is you haven't cashed in that profit yet, per se. It's almost kind of like unrealized at that point. But the grid bot shows it kind of as realized because of the way it works. So what's going to happen is you're going to hit this, and as soon as this line gets hit, it's going to show that I made $38. But technically, I won't make that $38 until it hits back down to a trade below. So if it just goes bink, 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 it's going to look like I have a lot of money, but my trade's going to be in the red, and I'm going to go, what the hell, it's not matching up. That's why, because it has to come back down to meet the base. And when you're averaging in, the base kind of changes as well, where it's going to track down. But if you click, I think they explain it right here. If you just click on it, yeah, here it is right here. So if you go to this URL, grid bots on futures account displaying P&L calculations, and if you read through this, it kind of gives you an idea of why they have it the way it is, and the results aren't identical to what's on the exchange. So that's another little thing that I figured out testing this. But in the long run, I mean, it's really cool. You can come in here also and click, not show all the transactions. You click the grid right here, and once you click the grid and you're in here, you can see everything, and you can export this out to CSV if you want to get your stats and back test what you've already done. I mean, this is amazing. It's something that I don't use primarily in trading. It's something I do for fun. It's something that I do on the side. It's something I do whenever the market's going crazy and I know there's just going to be fuckery on the weekend and it's just going to go all the way up and down 10 billion times like right now. So I have it open. I've been making money. I hope you can make money doing this as well. If you have any questions, you can send me a DM and Telegram at CryptoMJD, and I'll try to answer them as they come in. So happy trading, be safe, and hopefully this can make you some money like it's made for me.